Bernadette Winters Bell here, from Heartache to Healing and Hope. And I'm at the Telephone of the Wind site here in Oneonta, New York, in Lower Wilber Park, this beautiful place here in upstate New York, where a year ago I had the honor to launch this Telephone of the Wind right here in this beautiful park with a rustic telephone booth built for us by BOCES and the young people there. And it has been such a passion and an honor and a delight for me. Oh, it's always good to be back here. I remember when we first made you last year. Wonderful to have people come here and find solace and relief and peace. And we've invited some special guests here today to share with us what it means to them. And it's for all kinds of losses: a person, a pet, a lifestyle, speaking to someone that you're estranged from who has dementia, any kind of loss. It really fills my heart with pride and love. Thank you.
I am in there in spirit. I promise you, there's nothing, nowhere else I'd rather be. And my van just isn't gonna make it. I've tried to jump through hoops and no such luck. So, say hello to Jesus for me. It'll be my turn someday. I love you. And say hi to Uncle Lumpy. I miss him. And I'll miss you just as much. Love you. Bye.
Comfort, and maybe some tears that let the toxins out. How wonderful.
That big rock could be a problem, but I just, wheel around it.
So what's special about this, that it's near the road, but in this sacred place, as you called it, which I feels like it is?
It is. I just look up and I don't know, I could look at this view all day. I could just pitch a tent right here.
Why is this a special place for you? I mean, as far as, because you came in the chair and I walked, and we both don't like mud. But why is this space good for you?
Well, you made it a point of putting the lower telephone. My chair does rise up,
but not stand up. But everyone's doesn't.
But not everyone. Manuals wouldn't.
You know what?
So
children and you were exactly what I was thinking of this. Yeah,
you purposely made it accessible, which in this day and age, believe it or not, is not everyone's
want. You know, the other thing I was thinking,
any thoughts.
I had seen a woman
an afterthought
earlier that day, or whenever I was thinking about this, who was telling me about having problems with range of motion, and I thought maybe somebody couldn't reach up. I mean, it seems simple, but it's not if you can't do it. Right. Wow.
Yeah.
So I would imagine,
and it's off the beaten path, like you said, but it's not out in the middle of
you don't have to get your hiking boots on. Right. How wonderful.
Through all those roots and stuff, I might have a problem, but
yeah, you and me both, girl. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I want more and more people to come who don't even know they need to talk on the phone, and just experience it and let it out. You know, I was thinking about the terms that people use when they cry. I've lost it. What are the others? I broke down, and they're all negative. And I've been thinking for the longest time, years, of what would be a better way to say that, because I know it's not a bad thing. It doesn't feel comfortable, but it's a way to let out those feelings and the toxins. And what do you think about this one? And it kind of describes it anyway. You're beside yourself. So if you imagine yourself that you think of going through life just doing, right?
More than a time or two.
But if you're beside yourself here, letting it out, and then when it's done, you come back into yourself. All right, that's the new thing I'm going to encourage people to think of. Instead of I broke down or I lost it or whatever, I was beside myself. I let it out and then I came back. Right? Okay, good. All right, Elizabeth and I like that, so the whole world has to start talking about it.
I strongly encourage everyone to utilize this space.
Thank you. And if anyone feels so inclined, when you come here to the telephone, around the side over here we have a shadow box that talks about this, and there's a QR code here. And if you'd be so kind as to donate to the Telephone of the Wind, and we can make more of them so everyone can use them. Thank you.
Hey Mom, hey Dad, I miss you guys so much. I wish you were here and had a chance to watch my boys grow. I know you're with me, but it's just not the same. I see so many things happening and that you're missing out on. I try to be strong, I try to tell them about you, but it's just not the same. I really missed you at the wedding this past weekend. You were always such a buffer with the family. And I knew no matter what, I could count on you. But I'm so glad that I have your spirit with me everywhere I go. And I can definitely feel you. Thank you for everything. You're the best parents I could have imagined. And I'm grateful for everything you taught me. I miss you. Love you guys. Bye.
Here we are a year later, and you know, I was so thrilled when the Alzheimer's Association became the first corporate sponsor for Telephone of the Wind, thinking of it from the perspective of people that are no longer here in the person that they were, someone perhaps that has dementia. And I've been talking a lot to people about different forms of how to use the phone. So how is that for your clientele to have a piece like that? For the caretaker or maybe the person with dementia?
Through the progression of the disease, it becomes difficult for the person with dementia to communicate with their loved one. And that's really when the grieving process starts for caregivers, every time that there's another loss. And I think this gives the caregivers an opportunity to tap into all of those emotions and talk about all of the losses, you know, the time they take their loved one's car keys, or having, you know, I have people with early onset Alzheimer's who still have children in college and, you know, come here and talk about those challenges. You know, a lot of people hit them in their prime, their retirement that they've planned, and they want to travel the country, and now they're no longer able to do that. And I hear families come and being able to have a place to share those thoughts and feelings in a safe environment.
You know, I was speaking with someone recently, and she's at a level of frustration because last week when she said to him, here, put the shirt on, he put the shirt on. And this week he looked at her, looked at the shirt, and the connection wasn't able to be made neurologically. And it's frustrating because I just gave this to you the other day and you did it. And no one sent me the memo that said you've changed from that. And how do I deal with that anger and frustration?
Exactly.
Right.
It's a journey of constant changes. As soon as you get used to where you are, there's another decline, another change. And it's an emotional roller coaster for caregivers, ups and downs. You know, I think there's a lot of denial in the early parts of the disease, when the person still has so many lucid moments and that confusion. So the phone gives the opportunity for caregivers to come and be able to vocalize those emotions where, you know, talking to a friend or talking to somebody else that doesn't really understand. I hear that from caregivers all of the time that, you know, if they were to reach out to someone within their close circle, unless you've experienced dementia and Alzheimer's personally, you have no idea. And I think this just creates a safe environment for them to vocalize that.
I think about when they call a friend or talking to them, and the friend may think, well, why don't you be more patient with Paul or this? And when you're not exposed to it day after day after hour, you can have a lot of patience. But when it's all the time, it's so cumulative how this affects you. It's like, why don't you just do it? Because you're so, because the person may look similar to what they did, they have the same name, but they're not the same person.
Correct.
And they can come here and say, I'm so mad of whatever the circumstances. I'm so frustrated. I'm out of here. I'm done. And they're not going anywhere, but they need to vocalize that. Yeah, it can really help with that. Yeah.
And a lot of times their friends and families just don't understand, because the person with dementia will arise to the occasion. So when they're with their loved ones, you know, they put on this facade that everything is fine, and everyone's like, oh,
what's the problem?
What's the problem? They seem fine to me.
Right.
They don't really understand what it is day in and day out. So I think the phone is a great opportunity for people to connect with the spirit of their loved one, and who they were, that essence of that person, and share all their thoughts and feelings that maybe that they didn't get an opportunity to.
And also maybe who they were as a couple, or as a father and daughter, or whatever, as friends, whatever the connection is to the person that has this cognitive decline in dementia, that they miss that relationship also. And so they can come here and talk about how much they hated the situation that's happening, that they don't want to say to other people that might not understand, that usually don't understand. Right. So no, it makes my heart warm that it's received that way as I envisioned it. Oh, how wonderful.
Yes, it's a great opportunity for families. I agree. Thank you, Bernadette, for bringing this to Oneonta. So therapeutic. Thank you to so many.
Ooh, whew, means a lot to me. Thank you, Ann.
And that was my son. I love you. I hope I was still here. Bye.